Hello, everybody. It is 8:08 a.m. Eastern Time in the United States of America. Actually, we're not in the United States of America. If you're playing Scrabble, you're in Canada. But I am in the USA. Joshua Sokol Rubenstein versus Jackson Smylie. The final match. Tomorrow will be the finals. We have 3 people duking it out for 2 spots in those coveted finals to play for all the marbles. We should be getting going any second here.
Three more score slips is what we need.
Voguing is good with an E.
And it takes an S, right?
Voguing?
Just gonna do a lag check. Is that working? Is it working?
Does it work with you?
Yeah. I get all my Vogue so confused.
Is it working?
Is Voguer taking S? Yes. Vogue?
Voguing? I think of voguing as like a beauty thing.
Okay.
Like a voguer is like...
Yeah. Well, I would never play that.
Voguish is good, but not voguery.
Is it working?
I don't think it's good with an E, though.
No. Is Voguist good?
I've played voguery. Voguish Vegas, right?
Good luck, guys.
Too cool already?
Sorry, guys. Josh told me they were starting. I have no idea what's going on here, but they're wasting our time. I'm so sorry.
You ready?
No, where did I put my cup?
We try to use that for one side.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, after a lot of unnecessary deliberation and wasting time, we are off to the races. So Josh, opening rack, AADLLOR. Pretty junky rack. I am going to guess he's going to play dollar. But we'll see. Maybe he'll play a shorter. Try to compress the board. That's at least the way I look at it. Jackson over there with the beautiful Z, as the Canadians say. Z. Typically, I don't like playing things like dollar, burning 6 tiles for 18 points to give your opponent lots of letters to bingo through, lots of different places to score. But ultimately, when you draw all 1-point letters plus the D on your opening rack, you're just not going to score points. And what do we know? There it goes. Dala. So Jackson doesn't appear to have a great Z play. I'm trying to see if he can really score anything. WUZ is a word. Doesn't go down anywhere. Maybe outwin. I think that might be a word. Wait, he opened vertically, of course. I forgot. I also agree with opening vertically, just because of gravity, generally. And everyone else freaks out about it as if it matters. Yeah, outwin is not a word. Sorry, guys. I lied to you.
Okay. It's not good.
Now, this is interesting. So you guys can see on Josh's rack, he has his letters in that order. He's looking for a T. And oh my goodness, Jackson's going to play the phony that gives him the T, the exact letter he needed to drop tapadera, a beautiful English-Spanish word. So Josh is laughing to himself, and it's because he knows outwin probably not good, and it doesn't matter whatsoever, because he's just going to play that bingo and move on. So we're going to see that happen. I'm glad that Jackson and I are on the same page thinking about phonies like outwin. Maybe it's Collins only. I don't know. And Jackson has a bingo. He has diazoles and sleazoid. Sleazoid does not fit through the I and outwin, but he's going to find diazoles, I would assume, and yep, there it goes. So it looks like this is going to be a very fun game. We're off to the races. Josh has a really good rack, but I'm not seeing any bingos. And despite the fact that they just bingoed back-to-back, this board actually just turned to complete crap almost. So it has the potential to just completely die. And it's Josh's turn, but wow, Jackson's actually picked up the blank. So a not common theme yesterday, and wow. So he has fishing, and that looks like it's going to play if Josh doesn't play on the right side. He has it beautifully slotted right on the side of diazoles, making OF, LI, ES, and SH. So it's a beautiful 4-tile overlap if it doesn't get blocked. He also would have fishing and tapaderas. And they've created this interesting dynamic now because, if there was any doubt that outwin wasn't good, Josh kind of gave it away when he laughed, in a way. Or maybe Jackson interpreted that as Josh was just laughing because he got the literal 1 tile he needed to bingo with that AAA rack. So let's go ahead and see if Josh has any good plays. I'm not seeing anything special. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. So he can play Bima right there. That would be 36. So yeah, he has some options here for sure. This is an interesting rack because he has good letters and he can score, but he wants to definitely balance if he can. So we'll see what he does. I think he's going to think for a long time here because these are those kind of plays at the beginning that really matter. You want to make sure you play optimally. Of course, you want to make every turn correctly throughout every game, but sometimes you just have to think a little harder at some points. Today I'm watching the stream from my phone while I have Quackle on my laptop to save battery. So far that plan looks like it's working. And that means there's a little bit of a lag versus yesterday, so I might not be responsive to the comments in timely fashion. Thanks to everyone who's joining us here on a beautiful Sunday morning. Everyone else is asleep, but we're watching Scrabble because that's what we do. Okay. So this is insane. Josh just blocked fishing in both spots. That is uncanny. That is a soul read. He just knew exactly what letters Jackson had, and he just blocked all of his bingos. Unless I'm not seeing something. Let's see if Quackle sees any bingos. That's if he blocked everything, that's amazing. Yeah, and he did. So Jackson will not be bingoing this turn unless he phonies and gets away with it. Wow, that is... I'm completely bleeped. Mind bleeped. That's unbelievable. I figured that was possible, but... Jeez. Yeah, I guess he could have played anything, really, with one slot below, and that would have blocked both of two, so it's really not that big a deal. But I feel Jackson's pain. That's just a terrible feeling when you get pipped like that. Yeah, I like Josh's decision to play Anomi. Scores well, just like his other options, but
128,
turns over all those letters. And generally, I'm a fan of turnover. Other players, not as much. But drawing the blanks is the only way I could actually win Scrabble games, so I have to get them both. So this board has died pretty quickly. Jackson electing to play GIF. Yes, it's a GIF. It's not GIF. It's GIF. And Josh is basically forced to open the board here. There's really no place to play that doesn't open the board in some way. So let's see what kind of options he has. Yeah, I think I like this play, Rubly. Because the LOR, it doesn't take an S. It takes the E, the N, the D, though, so... And the Y, so it's not all that defensive or anything, but it sort of helps that it doesn't take an S. So this isn't that volatile of a play. Josh has that lined up on his rack because Corbeil is a word with an O instead of a U, but I think he's just trolling us now. And yeah, I think the lag is bad enough that I'm just going to have to switch after this game, but I think we'll all survive in the meantime. Wow, so you guys see Jackson's letters on his rack? He has min here lined up. If there was an open E, he would have a bingo. It's a very obscure 8-letter word, min here. There would have to be a blank E and then an E on the board for that to go down. So just unfortunate that it's not going to. I would switch midstream to eliminate the lag now, but I don't want to miss a play or something, possibly. So Jackson's going to play jib. Really no other options to jump his J. He's going to have to score a lot less, so you might as well just do that. He's going to need vowels. Josh has a beautiful rack. Does he have a beautiful spot for that X? X tall looks like a pretty decent play. He might not want to blow up his entire rack, but that's 47 points. So we'll see what he does. I sort of like that actually a lot. Playing OX, giving yourself a really high probability of bingoing next turn, leaving EILST. Knowing Josh, I think that's what he's going to play. But I've been wrong before, so maybe he'll surprise me. It does create that 6-letter word spot here in this triple, but that's not the end of the world. With the Z and the X out especially, it's going to be hard to really get killed there, since your opponent can't bingo. Another thing about playing OX and Zax is that it eliminates the later worry of having to hook or not hook a phony outwin. It's always an interesting dynamic in a Scrabble game when it comes down to pluralizing phonies. And sure enough, he does play Ox. Wow, okay, so Jackson's immediately going to play freshman. I actually didn't get a chance to look, but I'm sure that's the right play. It's the only bingo. Good job. Okay, now Josh has a natural Vittles on his rack, but it doesn't go down, it looks like. This is becoming a common theme where people, when I'm streaming, just have 7-letter words on their rack that can't play. But the good news is he can play Vittle in that spot he just opened, and now he's trying a phony that's going to come off the board. I think with the lag, you guys are ahead of me, but if Jackson doesn't challenge us, I'm going to be utterly shocked. Yeah, that's coming off the board. So yeah, that was a really impulsive play by Josh. He didn't need to do that. He could have just taken his 32 points, played Vittle, and he wouldn't have been down that much. It does suck with the board closing in, but you just don't need to do that to yourself. So I'm disappointed, but bleep happens. And Jackson has picked up a beautiful blank and a beautiful rack to go with it, so he's probably going to bingo. I'm trying to see if I can see any. I would imagine there's something through that C. Let's go ahead and plug it into the duck, because no need for me to show off my anagramming skills. Okay, so he has a few options. He's going to find some of these. I'll put money on that. This word, prochain, does not take an S, but it's also spelled with an E instead of an A. One of those somewhat high prop bingos that you don't learn until you learn. It looks kind of funny. Poachier looks funny to me. It is a word, as we can see, but and if Jackson does miss all of his bingos, it really doesn't even matter because he's up 80 and the board's closing in and he has a second blank, so the odds of him losing are microscopic at this point. And there we go. Jackson is going to find Pro Chain, the best available bingo. So good job, Jackson. He's playing perfect Scrabble today, other than playing Outwin. Yeah, actually, I take that back. You can't play Outwin as your opening move as a phony that gives your opponent a bingo. And I can't call that perfect. I just can't. So I imagine Josh is just going to play Viddle, and we're just going to quickly run this game out since we don't resign in this format. And there it goes. So it's going to take a miracle for Josh to come back, but crazier things have happened. Jackson has drawn junk, so if there is going to be a Josh comeback, it'll start with EEEINOU on Jackson's rack. But nonetheless, Jackson's up a lot of points, so his odds are in the 99% range. Still. Maybe 98. And as you can now see, Josh has drawn junk, so that's all she wrote, folks. Now the question is, does Jackson play? Does he exchange? I don't think exchanging really makes any sense. You can just score something, block something, preferably maybe something like Eon on top of Freshman. One consideration actually is the Q is out with 30 unseen. And there is one U out, but leaving the U in this spot would be a lot better than others. Because if he draws the Q, that'll be beautiful. And then he'll be able to score a bunch. Although there is a QI spot up in that top right, so yeah. So Jackson elects to play Auri. I'm not loving that, actually. It does block, but it also opens. Yeah, it's fine. At this point, it's a little bit less important, these tactical things, but he's opening up 2 triple word hot spots, but obviously the X is gone, so it's not as big of a deal. So Josh is quickly going to play Typey. I think that's the right play. CGOSTYY. Jackson drew more vowels, so he played 4 and drew 4. How about that for variance, guys? He's going to quickly slap down arrow because it scores and it blocks. AEO EIN. Yeah, for some reason, the games I did yesterday and this game all have not really been all that interesting. They're just pretty straightforward blowouts. Not really any interesting pre-end games or end games yet, but hopefully here soon we get something interesting. And as you can see, Josh drew the Q and a bunch of junk with it, so he's probably limited to just dropping the Q for 22. No sense in exchanging now, there's no chance he can actually win the game. DCGW. SSQ. Yeah, I mean he's down. Yeah, I mean he's down 111, and there's 20 in the bag. Yeah, he could bingo twice and still lose. So exchanging, especially, I mean, scoring 0, there's just no way he can win. So Josh went 4-6 on match 1 against Sid, and he went 3-6 against Noah yesterday. So he's had a bit of a rough tournament. Jackson went 6-2 against Noah on match 1, and yesterday he had a very unfortunate luck of the draw and lost 5-6 to Sid. So Jackson is 1-1. Josh is 0-2. So mathematically, Josh is already eliminated from finals contention. So there's 3 people duking it out for spots. So Jackson had the Arsine rack and fished the E. Where did he put that? Okay, he put it on the end there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm now just seeing that Josh fished for CINQ. So CIQ GBUT. So that's a really intuitive play by Josh. He figured if I'm going to win this game, I have the Q. I could actually hit CINQ and then maybe bingo. So as we can see, you know, Jackson has a beautiful rack. So it's not going to work out this time, but that was a really keen play by Josh. I didn't see it, actually. I'll go ahead and blame that blank being the end for me not seeing it because, you know, it should be pretty straightforward. Unfortunately, I can't see Josh's last letter. It's cut off, but I don't think it matters too much here. So Jackson's going to play his easy bingo, and good game. Wow, that's uncanny. I just went to enter Josh's 6 letters, and all 6 of them are already in Quackle. That's pretty funny. Not super likely. So yeah, this is the last of the 3 matches, and Jackson's going to be up 1-0 in this one, so good start for Jackson. Very good chance of him making the finals if he can get the win. There is a scenario today in which we'll have 3 of the 4 players at 2-1 if Josh loses this series, and if Noah beats Sid. And then we'll have that tiebreaker scenario where they're going to go by win percentage. Okay, so that's a K he has, so BG. Interesting. Good play by Josh. Vegas and Vegas are good. Like Las Vegas, you know? A great town. Indeed. So yeah, this experiment has been interesting on this first game. My battery today is not decharging, but it is going to once I pull Twitch up on my laptop, because this lag thing is, not great. So I apologize for it. We'll just forget it ever happened. I'll be honest, I'm actually not too sure what Jackson is thinking about all this time, but it's all good. No rush. This is interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. The bag is empty, so he knows Josh's exact letters. Okay, that's why he did that. Okay, obviously. So he made that play knowing that he can definitely go out next turn, and it makes it hard for Josh to do anything. Which is funny because he has an outplay. He can play B not right there. But will Josh see that is the question. Certainly a funny looking word, B not, but it is good. Also, I know that you guys are watching this with me lagging pretty bad, but can someone in the comments just confirm that my audio is adequate?
What the fuck? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Did you have a third?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
You're going for Sank?
Yeah.
So yeah, Josh will not find B not.
Really?
Literally.
He's gonna end up playing Kent.
That's weird because you're playing Valve, so you might have had at least one eye.
Jackson will go out, and that is the game, folks.
I had Arsene. Damn.
Yeah, like Outwin, dude. Damn it, B not was good.
Oh, when is good?
B not.
Oh, B not. Oh, shit, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so
Is
I was
when is
trying to
good?
decide if like if me not playing it was in any way influenced at you not seeing or thinking it was good. And I was just like, I don't know, I couldn't decide.
Okay, wait, so I'm just gonna try. Win is bad, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did, because I was very much not sure, and then I was like, once you said that, I was definitely gonna challenge.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have said shit, but I don't
Just
know.
doing a retest now of this audio problem.
Like you were
Just doing a retest now of this audio problem. Alright, there we go. Alright, so this lag is eliminated. Awesome. There we go. Alright,
guess
guess the lag is eliminated with this audio.
After you played Jib,
Oh.
so I didn't want to play Octier. I would have had
Oh.
Like,
I mean, fuck, like, I had HMN on blank. It wasn't that good.
yeah, no, like your draw. Like, sort of felt you constrict. I don't know. Do you let it go? Like I'm 100%. I was 100% sure it's no good. I let it go, right?
Maybe just
Have it
tap
error.
Oh, okay.
I think so. Right?
Yeah, I would let it go without saying anything.
But that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
But then I have to hold.
Yeah.
I can't make that decision so fast.
Right. You could. I think the thing is, I mean, assuming I'm not sure myself, because I mean, just play it. If you hold and then accept quickly, especially, you think, oh yeah, okay. One of those quick things.
I don't know, really.
I probably would have. Okay, then. If you had told me it was good, I would have said yes.
Yeah, and I was like really sure if it lose.
That it was no good?
That was good.
Oh shit, really? I was very sure it was no good.
All right. Hopefully, game 2 is going to start here any second.
Okay, you ready?
Slip. Wait, where's the slip?
It's underneath the backside. Can people hear us on the stream?
Yeah, barely though. Like not very well. I don't think. Maybe. Mostly, like commentators like drowns it.
I agreed to do both Saturday and Sunday morning, just because I'm a morning guy, and especially on Sunday morning when I wake up early every day, every Sunday of the NFL season, I'm always just staring at the clock, and it doesn't matter what I do, it doesn't matter how late I go to sleep, I'm gonna wake up early, and I'm just gonna have to grind it out all the way until noon Central Time, until NFL starts. So the irony in this is that of all weeks, there's actually an 8:30 Central Time game because they're playing the London game. So it's just pretty funny, but it's two of the worst teams in the NFL, the Jets and the Falcons. So it's not like I'm going to be missing wonderful football. Josh and Jackson looking into the abyss, inquisitively, confusedly, not sure what's going on. All right, Josh went first last game, so Jackson's going first this game. A, D. Oh, wow. No problem. Open up with a bingo. 13% chance of that happening. 13% hits. Nice find by Jackson. And these guys are both vertical openers, so this is going to be quite ideal. Because in my opinion, opening vertically is correct. And opening horizontally is incorrect. And Jackson has drawn Bateau, a natural bingo. Now it looks like there probably won't... Oh, wow. So he might not have a place for Bateau, but he does have Tableau through that L. And okay, so Josh has a bingo, and I think he's going to find it. He has end plate. Now let's see if there's something else, but I would assume that's the right play. So this game is going to get really interesting really fast, especially if Josh finds end plate. He can play planted, which, yeah, he's going to bingo. He's not going to miss planted, of course. And as it turns out, even though that would block the L, it would just give him another L. So Jackson's going to bingo next turn. And this game's going to start off with three straight bingos, so that's really fun. That's kind of what I was hoping for more of. Josh is just going through his options now, trying to figure out, do I have any 8s? But I think Planted is going to come down pretty quick, because it's a more strong play than end played, which would open up a triple line, which is unnecessary when you have a bingo elsewhere that scores the same, roughly. So he's going to play Planted any second now. Or would he miss it? Is that possible? Probably not. Jackson has his poker face on right now. He's trying to appear uninterested, normal, but he inside is just jumping for joy with that bingo draw post bingo. And there we go. Planted. So 2 pretty basic English words to start. Laughed, planted. Gotta like it. Now, could Jackson miss tableau? No, he could not. There it goes. And now we're off to the races. Josh chuckling to himself, trying not to tilt at the fact that Jackson has bingoed twice. And Josh is doing that thing again where I can't see his rack. So I'm messaging Josh because this is going to be a problem if he keeps doing this. I cannot see his letters. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I can't really give you commentary when Josh is doing this to me. So let's see if he can. Okay, so he doesn't have good letters. Okay, so he has Aji. Let's see. Well, our streak of bingoing's over, but it was fun while it lasted. Let's see if Quackle has any better ideas. Now that is interesting. So he could play A-J-I-E-S through the E in Tableau for 42. So that's one of those new words from a few years ago, A-J-I, and it can be pluralized with just the S or the ES. So I don't know if he has that lined up because he sees that. He probably does, since Aji's wouldn't. Well, it could play at E2, but I don't think he's going to do that. On the other side, Jackson has good letters. He's going to score points next turn. That's for sure. The J is definitely something you want to dump as soon as you can, because bingoing with a J is just not too common. And Josh is going to see Aji's, so good job by Josh. He's found the right play. Not even close. That's the right play. So, golf clap for Josh. Now, Jackson has a whole lot of options. As I mentioned, he is going to score points this turn. He has a lot of overlaps with that A in Tableau. He could elect to take a different route. He could just block the bottom of the board with the floating E and left, which is probably what I would do. I would probably play something like FEW on one side. Let's see if there's any fancy plays. Yeah, so there's nothing too fancy. You can go a lot of ways here. Jackson does have a few lined up, but definitely worth thinking about this turn. Quackle likes playing PAK, forming Pip and Ask. But I prefer just to block, because all these scoring plays are basically the same. There's nothing that is a super outlier here. I haven't eaten today, so I'm just wolfing down a croissant. That's why I'm silent, guys. Give me a second. Because if I don't eat, I'm going to run out of gas. And we don't want that. So yeah, Jackson elects to play few up there. It certainly has its merit. You know, you can't block everything at once, so. Josh has the pretty easy play. He has a junk rack, but he actually got bailed out. He had a high scoring spot for Tybee. So that was best case scenario for him. That didn't get blocked. And now Jackson has a natural imparks on his rack, which is a beautiful word. And it just kills me seeing all these bingos not being able to be played. Now I'm looking now, I don't see any 8s either. Let's see if Quackle disagrees. Oh my goodness gracious. I didn't see Rampikes. See, this is what happens when you have bad players doing commentary. They don't see Rampikes. I think I should fire myself. Will, can you sub in for me? Is it too late for that? After this game? Because I think the audience deserves someone who knows some words. Just a few words, you know? At least. But I obviously know none. So Jackson has Rampikes for 94. I think if he saw it, he would have already played it, but I think he might still find it. So we'll hope for the best here. Not that I'm cheering for one player or the other. Just saying, I'm cheering for the best play to be made every turn. Rampikes is a word, and you can also sub out the M for an N for Rampikes. And you can also shunpike, which is a word I like to use because that's the term for avoiding tolls. I learned the hard way not to do that. I was driving from Pennsylvania to New York, and I was shunpiking, and I was on a back road, and a deer just jumped out of nowhere, and I killed the hell out of it, and it smashed my car. So the moral of the story is don't drive at night in Pennsylvania, ever. Because the deer in Pennsylvania are highly oppressed, and their trees and forests have been destroyed. And I paid the price. And especially don't go to Dresher, Pennsylvania. Someone in the comments may or may not be from Dresher. But that actually is where I hit the deer, pretty close to it. It was called Salisbury Township. the police officer moved the deer's carcass off the road with his car. It was pretty funny. Yeah, I agree, Will. I think he would have bingo by now. Would I have found this bingo? Hopefully. Yeah, if Jackson did play Rampikes after those many minutes, that would be a mega tilting kind of play for his opponent. It's like, what the heck are you thinking about there? Josh is trying to perfect this board, but I think he just made it worse. I think it was fine before, but to each his own. All right, now that I have a croissant in my belly, I feel a lot better. Usually I don't eat breakfast in the morning because my body just like doesn't want to do it. But when I have things I have to do, I shove croissants down my throat. So Jackson plays Hakeem, so if he didn't have a bingo, that would be a fine play. It scores, leaves pretty well. PRS is beautiful. But of course, as we can all see, he just lost about 60 points of equity. Something like that. And Josh has a beautiful rack. He has the Z. A lot of places to play it. He could play Dozy under Hakeem. Oh, over there, rather, sorry. So yeah, Dozy for a lot.
Oh, my little head tilt. Yeah.
Both of these last two turns, he's left ETT, exactly. What does Jackson have? Okay. Okay, Jackson, it looks like, yeah, he has Purifies, if I'm seeing that R correctly. And if he misses that, I'm going to drive to Montreal. I'm going to just stop commentating. I'm going to drive to Montreal and wring his neck. That's what's going to happen. Or I'll grab him by his man bun, because that's a new thing. He's never had one of those. Yay, okay. Now I don't have to drive to Montreal. I really did not want to do that. Because if I did, I would be there playing Scrabble right now. Obviously. Now Josh has a bingo on his rack. He has a natural sit turn. I think that's the bird. Can someone define that? But yeah, he has interact through the A and Aji's up top.
Oh, what the fuck? Yeah.
Looks like reticent doesn't fit through the open E. That's bittern is the bird. Okay. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think Josh will find interact, but it's going to take two bingos for him to come back from this one, unfortunately. And even then, he could still lose, because interact is actually not even that many points. It's only 61. So. Jackson doesn't have a good rack right now. So, Josh does have hope if he can draw another nice rack post bingo. But first, let's see if he can even find one. Interact is the only one. I just saw this comment that said the G is the worst tile from Josh's automated thing. That's pretty uncanny because Jackson has a G, I thought, when I first saw it. it was specifically in response to Jackson having a G on his rack. But yeah, that's hilarious. Oh, that was prompted by the exclamation point. Okay. I'm sort of new to Twitch, so I don't really know these finicky things. So that battery is decharging, but we're at 88%, so I think I can make it for like 4 or 5 hours. It'll be okay. Josh does find interact. I don't know if he didn't see it till now or if he was just looking for better plays, but that is the only bingo. And now it's Jackson's turn. He has total junk. But there's actually, yeah, there's 2 blanks out. So I'm going to predict he plays Gurlier through the E. I think that's just a slam dunk play. Blocks. It's his only points that he can really score. And it turns over all his letters. When there's both blanks out halfway through the game, that's kind of an exhilarating thing in a way for the players, that race to the blanks. And he is going to throw down Gurlier. And I will predict that he draws 1 blank 45% of the time. 45% hits a lot, so.
Yeah, I know, right?
Josh did that thing again where I can't see his last letter.
Overdrew.
If he has an R, he has wrote him in through the I.
Saw an R, so keep fucking spinning those. No.
Okay, it looks like we have an overdraw, so I saw ERS flipped over, so that sucks, but it doesn't matter because Jackson drew the blank like I predicted. Now, as it turns out, with the actual letters he had, that turned out to be pretty big because he only has 1 consonant. So he's not going to be able to bingo next turn, but nonetheless, drawing that blank was crucial. So it's not going to probably prohibit him from winning, but... Okay, so Josh has 2 N, so he doesn't have Rodeman. I don't think Josh is going to see Numda, I'll be completely honest with you. But he does have word knowledge, so maybe not all of them, but he does know random things here and there, so it's not impossible. Yeah, I tried to learn Urdu, but I only lasted about 10 minutes. Those words are just too long for me. I need a language to be a little bit shorter. There's so many Indian people and Pakistani people in Dallas that I kind of wanted to learn some of the languages just to mind blow them that this white guy just knows languages, but it's not worth that satisfaction. So Josh here is in a spot, assuming he doesn't see his high-scoring plays through that U. He's down 60, so he needs to figure out a play that can score, leave well, and not kill the board. But unfortunately here, this is one of those spots where either the right play is just so far, yeah, above everything else that if you miss it, it's just really painful. And also, they forgot to update the match records, but Jackson is 1-0, not 0-0, so. And if he holds here, he'll be 2-0, so I'll make sure they get that fixed. Wow! After all of that, he plays Numna. I'm really happy about that, because now he actually gave himself a chance, because it was going to be really pretty much impossible if he'd played like anything else. Oh, that is really satisfying. I love it when the right play is made. That would have been funny if that whole time he was just deliberating over whether to play the N or the D, but I really doubt that. And he gets rewarded for making the right play. Drew the blank. Now, he did pick up the Q, but he does have 2 spots for it. So as you can see, Josh has QI in the middle of the board for 31. So that's going to happen. Regarding Numna versus Numda, when you look at the pool, you might kind of decide, I want to leave the N or the D, but it's pretty much marginal. You're going to need that blank either way. And at that point, it'll be easy to bingo with good letters anyway. So let's see if he has anything other than QI. No, I don't think so. I think yes, he's going to play that. Now you can see, guys, Jackson drew well. So he's just going to bingo. And even though Josh picked up that blank, he's just not going to be able to catch him now, it looks like. This is interesting. I'm really sure that Jackson's going to play there, but I think hedgerow is good. Maybe there's even another bingo. I don't want to start saying phonies. Okay, Will already saw hedgerow. But yeah, that would be really sexy if he could get that down, but I don't see how Jackson can bingo anywhere else, obviously. I think he's going to just play something like Anointer, something. I don't see any H bingos. Let's see if Quackle does. Nope, yeah, so Anointer is probably the play, or Wantoner. So yeah, Jackson's going to win this game. Good effort by Josh. I might even dare say I think Josh played perfectly. But sometimes it doesn't matter. So yeah, Jackson is just going through all the letters of the alphabet, trying to figure out if there's anything. But as it turns out, his best bingo is 68 points for Anointer. Playing a perfect game at this level of Scrabble is not uncommon at all, but it's still kind of hard to do. A lot of the time, some of the plays really are just straightforward, so it's like they play themselves some games, but still give credit to Josh. He's played a really good game. He's made every single move correctly. Is there a universe where Jackson misses his bingos, fishes, and Josh plays hetero and wins? No, there's not. As soon as I say it, there it goes. And that's the look of sadness on Josh's face. Jackson just ate his lunch. Actually, he ate his breakfast. It's pretty early. So, let's see. How can Josh win this game? He's down a bingo. He has the blank, which is very important, but he's going to have to open something up. And that's really just not going to happen because anything he opens up can just get shut down immediately. At this point, he probably will just play OWED in the bottom corner and just hope that he can bingo through the G because that's the only spot. But I guess there's a pretty good chance he doesn't play that because he knows that bingoing with a G through a G is not really happening. He could maybe get like geologer, like he'd obviously have to draw the exact perfect letters. Let's see, is that even in the pool? Yeah, I mean it is, but hitting that would be unlikely. But there are 3 O's out, so Ode is probably just the right play. The problem is that if he plays that and doesn't hit geologer, which is like a very, very, very high percentage of the time, he's screwed because he can't really fish at that point because the bag's about to be emptied. So I wouldn't be surprised if Josh didn't play Ode, but again, yeah, I mean, he not only is down a bingo, but he can't really score few points this turn. He has to score enough to give him a chance to win if he bingos. Because if you fish and then your opponent scores points and you're down 100, then your bingo does you no good. So he's trying to figure out a way to win this game, and it's probably just too little too late. But this happens a lot of the time. You have bingo, bango, bongo to start. These games a lot of the time play themselves. If they switch racks, they might all made the same plays. Josh might have had rampikes, maybe not. So he does go with Wodge. I don't really know how he thinks. Yeah, he's probably just gonna. He probably is gonna try to do a sort of setup in the pre-end game, is my guess, because that's gonna be his only chance. So yeah, Wodge is fine. Obviously it's gonna be pretty much impossible to bingo to the W, but if there's a will, there's a way. Can you get hedgerow again? Okay, so Josh has a beautiful rack. Does he have freebase? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, barely doesn't fit. But yeah, Josh has leverage now. His rack is so strong that he can fish and actually have a chance. So drawing that S was really crucial. From his perspective, there was 2 unseen S's, so had a good chance of happening. So from Jackson's perspective, he's up 43 points. He knows that Josh probably has the blank, but there's nowhere to play it. So all he has to do is just not open things up, because Josh really can't bingo ending in H with that W blocking it. Like any possible bingo ending in H would have to end in SH probably. And that's not going to happen because the W is obstructing it. And then, of course, W is very hard to bingo too, so. Jackson's just going through his options. He just wants to make sure he's not accounting for something. So he can pretty much do whatever as long as he's not opening the board. Looks like he might play LUV at the top left, forming Va and Ute. Seems fine in standard. All he needs is points and a valid play. Oh, sorry guys. I'm looking at the comments. I didn't realize Absturged fit. Okay, and Josh might find that. And the funny thing is, I think he still would lose, but holy moly. When I was commentating a second ago, I did not account for disconnected nines.
435 to 370.
Wow. So Josh tank played Numna. Is he going to tank play Absturged? There's one in the bag. I'm confused. Why does it's not showing up in the options for Quackle? Is it not good? I'm not sure what's going on. Hold on a second. Why wouldn't that be good? Yeah, it fits. I don't get it. Why is it not showing up on Quackle? I'm so confused. Why would that not show up on Quackle? Calling for help. Will, why would that not show up on Quackle? It does fit. That's the thing. Because I just entered it on Quackle and it didn't say phony, so. So let's see. If Josh does find Absturged, let's see what would happen. Would Jackson still be able to win? Yeah, he would. Okay. So I wouldn't give him the win, but it'd still be cool, just to see it go down. But yeah, I'm really confused, guys. Quackle generally sees all the options. I don't see how they could not see Absturged. So I'm really, mind blown right now. So yeah, I'll concur. The Twitch chat, definitely greater than Quackle. I have notified Jackson that he missed Rampikes, so as soon as the game's over, he will know. So Josh is running out of time, but right now he's just permuting possible fishes, trying to see, can I bingo out? Can I win? And he's going to quickly realize that he cannot, but it's always worth a shot. Okay. So Josh's out of time. What a guy. And he actually played that. That's the funny thing. He actually hit his clock. This is kind of comical because Jackson actually hasn't challenged it yet. He has to figure if this is good 1% of the time, and if I lose the challenge, would I still lose? So that's what he's going to figure out right now. Josh is known for goofy plays like this. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense as you guys are intuiting because spread does not matter. Interactionism, Collins only. Who would have thunk?
I'll put you at 433 to my 435. I'll be right
So yeah, both players are basically out of time. This game is about to be over. I guess I have to enter re-interactable on Quackle now because that's a thing.
Oh, you haven't drawn your picture.
Yeah, I'm not drawing.
So Jackson is going to let it stay. He's going to play Coca. And just take the guaranteed win. But this is cool, though. Josh can now say he's played a 14-letter word that stayed on the board. So who can really say that? Not that many people. Jackson is up 2-0 in the series, so smooth sailing for Jackson. Trying to get to those beautiful finals.
156, what did you add?
Hold on. Coco's 30.
What is the blank? I don't know. I'm just going to pick a letter.
I thought you were going to put interactables.
Yeah, that could.
Jackson wins by 9, it looks like,
This is not work because
after Josh's silly efforts.
So I played Interactor against Benji.
Yeah, there's no
once.
interactable.
I didn't have anything there.
No, you didn't. That's what I was trying to say. I would have won that.
Yeah, so I mean, Absturged just loses, so I can't just play that.
Absturge, where?
As I don't know, like. So like I could fish the S. Sorry, I could fish the B for Heyrides. But I don't think I draw. If I draw a 9 there as well, I think we can see a 9.
Sewerage.
Like Sewerage or like. For a second I thought Decrease worked.
Not there.
Yeah, so I didn't pick it because I didn't see anything there,
Nothing to W.
and so I can't do Hey Reedies. But if I can't do Hey Reedies, like I don't really have anything.
Yeah.
Like I can fish the B for or fish the S for base head, but I don't think I draw. Sorry, fish the R for base head.
Yeah.
I don't think I draw anything here either. Check.
Yeah.
So either way, if you just see those things, or
Yeah.
you just block and murder.
Yeah, like you did have this, but I still wouldn't beat this with. I mean, I guess I could just block that as well, but Coco would still win.
Yeah, Coco would be enough, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even see Coco. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, I'm sturged. What the fuck? But yeah, still
Now the fun starts. So I'm going to be commentating and
that's fun.
watching NFL. That's right. I can do it all, folks.
I missed something because I had Parks on my rack.
Oh,
Just one of those racks, like fuck. There's just
Shout out to all you Brits over there
Ram Pikes. Fuck.
watching the stream. Got some NFL in London this morning
I gotta recommend
at 8:30 a.m.
Planet is
Texas
just
time.
end plate.
Planitive.
It's just end plate.
Yeah.
Okay. I was sort of tilted that I gave you an L. Yeah.
Oh, I see. That toe was good with 1-2.
Josh is down 0-2, but it's a long series. It's best of 11, so certainly a lot of time for him to make a comeback.
Oh, is it good with 1T?
But his attitude remains pretty good constantly. So
Yes, I think the one with the 1T is KPS, but not the 2T.
he'll give himself a chance.
Fuck me.
Okay, DAT. 1T is not good with an S. Wait, I don't think. Okay, neither. Okay, we're the same. 1T and 2T's only take an X.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to draw my courtesy because I was worried that you would then challenge it off, see what I drew, and say I'm sturged. My only shot.
I'm trying to get an update on the Noah versus Sid series.
And then
Hopefully they can get me an update in a second before they start this game.
Anyway. Is Numda good as well?
There's a word like that if it's not there.
That would have been a mistake.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
The only reason, yeah, I played Numna because of that, like, spelling bee thing. It was a spelling bee thing. Let me go to the bathroom. Where the guy was giving Numna, and he's like, "What, Numna?" Or Numna? Because it sounds like numbnuts.
Yeah.
This is the crosser. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Fine.
Sorry for the silence, guys. I guess I just don't know what to say in these intermissions.
Or good.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, here we go. Josh is first, and he has a beautiful double V rack. And the funny thing is, he actually is one tile off from a bingo. He could have Fliver if the O is an R, Fliver. But nonetheless, he does not have Fliver. So he's going to have to figure out what to play. He'll probably play Vive. I don't see any 5-letter words that reach. So I think he's going to play Vive. Vive. Yeah, there we go. Jackson has a blank on his rack to open up. That's always nice. But he has junk to go with it, so looks like he's not going to be able to bingo this turn. And now that Quackle missed Absturge last, I'm skeptical that maybe Quackle won't even see bingos if they're there, but yeah, I don't think he has a bingo here, so he's probably just going to play 10 or something, because of the double V there, he literally has like no options. You can play 10 or exchange, and that's kind of pointless. So unfortunately, Josh is eating on the camera right now, and that was a rule that he can't do that because I'm trying to commentate, and just seeing him chew is causing me to have super high anxiety levels. So what I have to do is cover his face up with my hand on the screen. So Jackson elects to play end. I would have played 10 because you might want to create that extra line that would be created by jumping that T. And it burns the extra letter, which you kind of need to do because you don't have enough vowels, in my opinion. So that extra tile you turn over, kind of crucial. Josh really doesn't have much of anything here. This board is really dead really quick. So he'll probably just play something like fob and bend for lack of other things. I did get intel that Noah won round 1 against Sid, and they're slightly behind these guys, so their round 2 results are unknown at the moment. Jackson has Wetland on his rack, but nowhere to play it most likely. Next turn. So Josh ends up playing Fib instead of Fob. I actually like that. Yeah, I think the O interacts better with his leave than the I would in this case. So Josh plays Fib. Let's see if there's any 8-letter words. I don't believe there are. But this is why we use Quackle. Oh my god. See? Tailwind. I do want to point out I didn't really think about it. I just kind of was guessing. I think I could have found Tailwind, guys. Seriously, I think I could have found it. Jackson could find it, as we're seeing right now. Boom. So Jackson strikes first, and he has the lead. Josh has a really nice rack. I don't think he has any bingos, but he has good letters. It's going to be easy for him to score and leave well. He has B howls, I'm sorry. But yeah, as I'm typing it, I realize he has B howls and tailwinds. For 108, if he misses that, I'm going to be upset. And there it is. B howls. Yum, yum. That's what I'm talking about. So that's back-to-back turns where I didn't see the bingo at first. I'm going to just stop talking, guys. I'm not good enough to be giving you commentary. And Jackson needed that L and B howls to be slotted differently, and then he could have played Caudillo, but oh wow, he has the B open for cuboidal, and he sees it, and he's laying it down. Wow. So this is really similar to last game where it's just bingo, bingo, bingo. Just this time not on the first turns. And Josh looks like he is like suspicious. He might not think it's good. And it does look like he's being held, because Jackson is not drawing letters. And despite me asking, Josh is doing that thing again where I can't see his letters. Now, from Josh's perspective, this would be a really bad challenge because there's no real reason for Jackson to do it. It's not like a desperation point of the game. And he knows cuboid is good. But yeah, I mean, cuboidal does look funny if you don't know it. We can see now Josh has really good letters. Does he have a bingo through the N?
How much? 78.
So I'm not sure if the play has been accepted or not, but nonetheless, Jackson drew his tiles. In Scrabble, we have what's called a courtesy draw, which means that after 20 seconds of being held, you can go ahead and draw your letters, because otherwise it would be an exploitable thing where your opponent could hold and prevent you from seeing letters, and then when it's back on your time, you're at a disadvantage because you haven't had time to think about your play. If Jackson is being held, I can guarantee you he's just begging for that challenge, hoping he hits that red button. Please challenge it. So maybe someone in the comments sees something I don't. I'm not seeing any bingos for Josh. Let's plug it in Quackle. I forgot it was his turn. Whoops. Yeah, he doesn't have any bingos, but he has a nice scoring play on the top right, so it's not the end of the world for Josh. He's going to be able to take the lead here, assuming he doesn't challenge. I guess at this point he's probably not holding, I think, but we have no true way of knowing. That position Josh is in is the equivalent of putting on a thinking cap for him, because he doesn't wear caps. Jackson has negligee if he had the open L, but as you guys can see, all three L's that are actually on the board are nowhere near wide open. But nonetheless, it's a nice play if it could have gone down. Negligee. He does have Patty lined up now, so we're going to hope he goes ahead and plays it because he's wasting a lot of time on this turn. With 20 minutes on your clock, it's pretty detrimental to ever take 5 minutes on a turn. So, just should not, unless he really needs to. He's thought way too long on this play. Okay, I don't know if that's good. Is that good? No, it's not good. So Jackson's gonna probably challenge that. I don't know, maybe not. Josh is drawing. Considering he started drawing immediately, I guess there's no hold. But yeah, I don't think that's good. I'm really confused why Quackle, it is good. Why would that not have shown up? Because I don't really know words like that, but I just assumed that that would have showed up on the options list when I generated choices, which is why I was confused. So as we're finding out, Quackle is just, there's something wrong with Quackle. Jackson's going to go ahead and play Jeed. Pretty standard. Not a whole lot of options. This board is really closing in fast. So we had 3 bingos in a row, but the way it went, it just the board just happened to die just quickly. So unless something happens soon, we're going to be in a closed board duel for the rest of this game. And wow, Jackson, even though it's not his turn, he drew the blank. And he has a beautiful rack. He's going to bingo next turn. And he might even have a 9 to that ER up there. Engineer is an 8, so that isn't quite right. But nonetheless, he's going to bingo somewhere with that beautiful rack. But Josh is in good position. So he has the Z, and he has a place to dump it for 50 points. He could play Zeta and Za from the A and cuboidal. But right now, he's just trying to figure out, is that the right play? And I think, unfortunately, it is. He doesn't love putting that A right there because it's going to be easy for his opponent to come back with a lot of points, but he just can't play ZA by itself, leaving 3 Ts. You just can't do that. So he's just going to have to do it and hope for the best. But the good news is he's up, so... Okay, I mean... I don't hate it. I mean... Yeah, it's fine. That's fine. I mean, leaving 3 Ts actually... It's because of the board situation and the lack of potential options. It's fine, actually. And the T, of course. And he drew another one. That's funny. But yeah, the T... There's a lot worse letters you could have triplicates of. And yeah, I just made that word up. Triplicates. Yeah, he goes with Za. See. Yeah, so he does have 9s. Energizer with either the S or the Z. But I don't know if he'll elect to do that, because it opens things up quite a bit. Versus maybe some other plays that will be slightly more defensive. Maybe something through the T. Let's check. Yeah, so he could play a few bingos through the T. Reignite. Etc. It looks like it's not going to happen this time, but Josh needs the A for Tadius. But it looks like that's not going to happen. With this insanely good rack, Jackson just going through the alphabet, figuring out what my best bingo is. Because as you guys can see, the score, Jackson's going to bingo, and it's going to be a tie game, so it's pretty important that he makes the best tactical decision. So yeah, I like this decision by Jackson. Lingerie gives back not too much. Had he seen the nines, would he have played it? Maybe not, maybe. It's a little bit harder to see nines with a blank usually. So now we're tied, exactly tied. Josh is in this predicament with 4 T's, but I think he'll be able to get rid of them rather easily. So he can literally play the 3 T's up there, as you guys can see on the screen, for titter. That's just got to be the right play. That's pretty rare. You can just play 3 T's and score points, not exchange them. And there he goes, titter. So that's a great play, leaves EIST. Sorry. Okay. And Jackson's picked up a bingo, but I don't see a place for it. He has Fluron. Yeah, so no place for Fluron. But he has FEW there. I think that's just the standard play because it scores and it blocks the G spot to bingo to ending in G. And if Jackson can do that, that means he'll have a lead on a really close board, which is a good spot to be in. So there's still bingo opportunities out there, but I think that's really the only thing you can do here because nothing else comes even close points-wise. The lead is crummy, but you just got to do it. Josh has picked up a really nice draw. So he's going to probably be able to fish that X next turn and just leave insert on his rack. So Jackson is going to play few, okay. So Josh has a few options here. As you can see on Crackle, he actually has next any XTS. Why is that a valid Scrabble word? I don't know, but he could play it underneath Cuboidal for 54 points. So I don't think he's going to do that because while it does give him the lead, it blows up his rack and, you know, creates that bingo line that you really can't even block. So it's not really a spot you want to be in. So I think he's just going to drop the X for Zax, or for over there on the left with XI, XU, leaving himself with the beautiful leave of insert. And now, okay, wow, so Jackson, to his 2-tile draw, leaving that U, he drew the Q. Wow, okay, so Josh is going to play next. That's interesting. Certainly can't fault him. It's 54 points, and points are good. And, you know, that makes sense. I mean, on this board that's closing quick, fishing probably is unnecessary. But it's kind of gives you that safe feeling where you have such a strong lead. So if your opponent opens up anything, you're going to bingo, and you might even just hit a bingo to that T anyway. There's a lot of tiles you could have drawn would have bingo to the T with that leave. I think the play here for Jackson is just to drop the QA, 32 points, and that's pretty much going to kill the board, other than that bottom lane that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, when boards get really compressed like this, there's a lot less to think about, a lot less to strategize about. So it's just pretty straightforward. Now Josh has junk. But he has keynote through that N in lingerie. Yeah, Kino looks like the only thing you can do, because not only does it score and take out that scoring spot, but it kills the board even more. Stops any end bingos, even though that would be hard with both blanks out. Still possible. Wow. Jackson has a natural journal. So this theme of unplayable bingos just continues and continues. So we are going to see Kino go down pretty quickly. Josh's clock is ticking, so he needs to make his plays quickly. Keep it moving. So Jackson can play Juco or Junko through that C. And that's literally the perfect thing to do. Either one works because it takes out most every combination of bingos that would play hooking that IN at the bottom of the board. And then, of course, having the J slotted where it would doesn't create any new lanes since you can't front hook a J. So Jackson's down 24, and it's going to be roughly tied after this play, assuming he does play that, and he has it lined up on his rec. So this is going to be a really close game. It's going to come down to who draws what. And as you guys can see, they're gasping for air. There's almost nowhere to play on this board now. So plays that score 10, 12 are going to be premiums on this board. There's two S's out. There's no other power tiles. So the S doesn't have too much value on this board, but it has enough to where it's going to matter, especially with this new hook that's being created with Juco. Now, I think I'd rather see him drop the N for the extra 2 points, because there are 3 E's out, 4 A's. You know, you want to just balance a little bit better, I think. You're going to draw pretty well most of the time. So now Josh has Tiramisu minus the S. So unfortunately for him, there's no dangling S on the board. His options are very limited here. He could play Umiak from 18 up there, but that would blow the board open. But at this point, I don't know if playing scared is an option, you know? Kind of just have to go with it. So yeah, he is going to go with Umiak. You definitely can't blame him because there's just so little he can do on this board. So, you know, he's just saying, if I lose, I lose. But I need points, and this is my best opportunity to score points. So he's going to go ahead and play Umiak and try to just outrun Jackson. And, oh, I didn't even see his rack. Wow. So that's immediately going to get punished. That's super unlucky. That is super high variance. That is just really unfortunate for Josh. Wow. Yeah, that's unreal. But this game isn't over. There's tiles in the bag. Josh is down 60 points. And yeah, he's trying to keep his cool. He has, that's a Y, okay. See, that's a really big deal that Jackson hit that, because now Josh is just in a terrible spot, because there's going to be nowhere to bingo. He doesn't have one of those 2 S's that are out. Jackson looks like he does have one of them, the one on the end on my screen, a little pixelated, but I think that's an S. So let's see what kind of plays he could have with that Y, if he could score any points. Yeah, not too much. These are spots that are really not fun. When you know that your odds are so slim, but you at least have to try to figure out some way to give yourself a chance. It's just a bad feeling. But 1%, 2%, 3%, it happens sometimes. So that's why you can't give up until it's over. Looks like Josh is going to dump the Y. I like it. Scores. Leaves fine. There's definitely a few bingos he could draw on a one tile draw. But yeah, unfortunately, Jackson has a really good rack. He's just going to be able to play Noisy if he sees it, or Pansy and Jukos for 50. So, that being said, how many tiles are in the bag? Okay, yeah, so there's 16 tiles in the bag, so Jackson can play a 5-letter word, and that wouldn't empty the bag, so he doesn't run the risk of Josh possibly bingoing out and then winning. So if Jackson sees his high-scoring plays, he's going to do it. Now the pool from Jackson's standpoint, pretty decent. There is a G out there, but all the other letters are pretty good. 2 A's, 2 E's, 3 R's, ST, H. There's a lot of bingo combinations out, whether it's through the U or C or parallel, hooking the A and L in criminal. But then again, if Jackson just sees Noisy, which he does, it looks like now, that'll block a lot of things anyway. So he's going to play that, I would think. He's just making sure that there's nothing he's forgetting to account for. These positions where there's 10 or less tiles in the bag, give or take, are called pre-endgame. So the endgame is when there's no tiles in the bag. So you know exactly what your opponent has, so you could permute exactly. But with the pre-endgame, it's a lot less clear what your opponent has, so you have to account for their whole range of racks. And considering Josh had just dropped 1 tile last turn, that limits his range a little bit. It looks more fishy than it actually was, but obviously his options were nil anyhow. So Jackson does play Noisy, and that's pretty much going to do it. I do not see any bingos for Josh. Oh yeah, he has Reorient through the end that he just put out there. I didn't even look there yet. But if Josh plays Reorient for 60, it's just not going to be enough points anyway. So I think he's going to pass it up even if he sees it, because he knows that that will never win, because he'll draw and have 2 tiles on his rack. Or 4, rather. There's 11 unseen, so he would have 4 letters on his rack if he bingoed. So yeah, unless something insane happens, Jackson's going to be up 3-0 in this series. Hot start. Definitely what the doctor ordered after a tough afternoon yesterday for him, and evening. Josh's clock is ticking. He is almost out of time, so he's going to have to decide here quick what he wants to do. And once again, spread does not matter too much at all in this format, so there's no incentive for him to just play Reorient to save spread, because it's not going to help. So that's an interesting play. Josh is just kind of throwing in the towel, saying, I'll just hope for the best, hope to draw bingo and bingo out, and maybe win, but that's not going to happen. He drew EO, so this game is over. Jackson Smylie is 3-0 in the series. So now Jackson has to just decide, what do I want to block? He can play AGA, A-G-H-A, to the A in criminal, and have a block of that new lane that Josh just created. But the unseen pool for Jackson, actually, I stand corrected. It's A-E-E-I-O-O-R-R-R, so there's no hypothetical way Josh could bingo. So it doesn't even matter. So he's just going to play AUG down there, which is an interjection. And, yep. It's a well-played game for Jackson. And I can't see Josh's letters, but we mostly know what they are. He drew EO. Uri leaving ERR. Okay. Jackson has an outplay, it looks like, with PARAS. But he's not going to play it. He's going to take more points. Josh will quickly go out with exactly 0 on his clock. So he avoided going overtime. Not that it matters. And that's all she wrote. Wait a second.
Yeah, sorry, man. One game while not bingo 4 times.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird route next.
What'd you keep?
IRs. I could have. No. Yeah, IR. So I could have just like dropped the X. I don't know how much I hit, but I hit the T a lot.
Man, I really don't mind next at all.
I don't either.
My average response is pretty bad.
It's probably something else, honestly. That I fucked up. Yeah, or I took forever. I was looking for bingo.
What'd you have? AI. I don't see much.
Hopefully we're going to get an update from the other series in a second.
Joey asked again to not put tile at the end of the rack.
I'm doing a really great job at not putting it at the end of the rack. So I'm gonna, if he really wants to do this, I'm going to. This. Oh, I can't.
He doesn't want you eating on camera. Doesn't want you eating on camera as well. It's his other Joey's other request.
But he can't hear me.
I guess the visual stimulus.
I'm done. I'm done with that.
Yeah, you don't have to. You can do it.
think he's just like, especially.
Are you on EI right now?
What?
Are you on EI right now? Or you
Yeah.
Okay, you are on EI. Good. Me too.
Who's first?
What happened to your job?
It was a big outburst in June. What was about to happen happened.
Yeah.
Matchplay number.
We are waiting on the Sid versus Noah update, but we're not getting it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we are starting round 4. Jackson has the 3-0 series lead. First one to win 6 games wins the series. And Jackson has tiles. Let's see. JQOLL. Okay, we're going to see an exchange here. Looks like a D on the end. That one's kind of pixelated for me. JDNLLOQ. And what is he leaving? An N, okay. And Josh has curdled, which came down the other day, so he's going to see that. So good job by Josh. That's the only bingo. Jackson did not draw too well. So quick start for Josh. Is he being held? That's unbelievable. I guess Jackson didn't watch that game because he's playing, so he wouldn't have seen it, but that is pretty funny.
We played it on earlier this.
Wow. Okay, so Jackson's challenging, so he's just kind of tanking now. He's going to lose his turn, and he has no real potential next turn, so it's going to be hard to come back here. Jeez. And there's the second blank, so immediately being punished, Jackson is. And, you know, I'm done speculating on words. I'm just going to plug it in because I don't know nothing. He definitely has bingos, but let's just see. Wow, okay, he is Arabized. I think Josh knows it. I think he should find it for 114. My gosh. That play covers both double word scores, which is called a double-double. So your play is times 4, and then in this case, plus 50, so it would be 114. Update from London, Falcons 17, Jets 0. Let's go. There it goes, Arabized. So Josh, I think he's going to win this game, guys. I would put the odds at 98%, maybe even higher. If we did not have this event sanctioned, this would be a resign scenario. So good job to Josh finding the right play. Josh did not draw bingo this time, but that's okay. Can't draw bingo every turn. So that's a nice play. Jackson's going to play Bora for 30-something. Only play he can make here. So yeah, Josh has a lot of nice overlap plays there with that A and Arabized. He's going to score points this turn, closing the board, just what he needs to do. He could also play Wiped. No, he can't do. Yeah, so he has to. Well, if he plays Wiped on the left side, that does create an S hook. So he could do it on the right side, but that's a lot of points difference. So he should probably play PEW on the top left, keeps everything closed and scores. So I think that's probably the right play. He could play Biped, which wouldn't have the hooks, of course, and the B is not too worrisome to play through, but I kind of like playing PEW just to keep things compact. Okay, so he's going to play that. I really don't like that. And that's really surprising because he's not the type to create volatility when he's up this much. You know, you don't need to give your opponent that S hook and a chance to score 100-point bingo, so I really don't know what he's doing. I'm going to be completely honest. When he has all those options available, that's just inexcusable. I mean, you don't need to do that. It could be a tilt play, but he shouldn't be tilting when he's up 200. Josh needs an O for Lastborn. I don't believe there's a bingo through the E. So Jackson is down, of course, 200 points. So I like playing MOHUR on the right side because it creates that second S hook. And yep, that's what he's going to do. So now he has the volatility on this board that he's going to need if he has any chance in hell to come back. Luckily for Josh, he drew the S. So I guess that was part of his plan, I guess. So he's going to be able to play Blast on either side. Or he's going to just play a phony like an idiot. My God. I mean, it's probably not going to matter. If you look at Jackson's rack, he has a Q and a V now, so Jackson's just smiling, like, instant challenge. Just, I guess Josh could have Collins confusion. I guess that's a thing. I guess Josh was in the comments. He got too many ideas. So Jackson has a few options here. Actually, sorry, I mislooked. No, he doesn't. He can play Feek, and I think that's pretty much it. Through that U and Moher. Because there's really, I mean, he can't really just play QI over there, leaving the F and the V. That's just not going to happen. So yeah, he is going to quickly. So now he made the play he should have made the first time. Blast for a lot. And Jackson did not draw bingo, so Things are not looking good for him. But hey, you can't win every game. You can't steamroll the 2,000 player every time. It's just not going to happen. Even if he plays Brantles. Now this is an interesting play. I love this play. DEV is actually pretty decent leave. The V obviously not ideal, but this play scores and creates a new lane on the triple, so he's just giving himself options all over the board. So if he's ever going to stage a comeback with a bingo, bango, bongo, that should help his cause. Josh is quickly going to play Penny. Not a whole lot of options with that rack. Only one consonant and double N, double R. Jackson did not draw bingo, it looks like. So things are looking grim in round 4 for him. He has a nice overlap there with VAU, but oh, okay. He plays that instead. So that's a pretty good play. Scores, leaves DE. Looks like it won't matter too much, but gotta try. So now Josh has a good rack. I don't see any bingos. So let's see what Quackle sees that I don't. But being up 150 with a good rack and having to fish is always nice. But we'll see what he does. Maybe he'll just try to take points and block. Jackson is drawing junk with that DE leave. I mean, he drew the S, but it's pretty far from the bingo now, so. See, I like this play by Josh. There's really no need to fish when you're up 150, so just score. And yeah, it takes out the N, which I guess is really the only good tile to play through, because that W and the Y aren't super relevant. So that's a good play. I like it. He'll need some vowels to balance his rack, but plenty of those. So I'm not sure what Jackson has. Yeah, he does. I remember now. Jackson can play secede and swiped, or he can play cowed, leaving the S. So in this scenario, you probably need to take the points since you're just so far behind. But what does he do? Oh, he plays that. Interesting, okay. So that scores something. I believe isn't all that... Wow, oh my gosh. Oh, it doesn't fit. He has excises now. Jackson does. But it doesn't fit with the swiped hook. Josh is going to go ahead and play Jot. Not much else to do. This looks like his only relevant J play. And then it, of course, obstructs that hook, which is super important. Now we don't have to worry about that. That pretty much stops any chance of a Jackson comeback. So Josh is going to get on the board. He's going to win this game. So it'll be 3-1 Jackson leading. No spot for excises, unfortunately, so he's just going to play XIS and keep it moving. Josh has a lot of junky one-point letters, so points are going to be hard to come by here. He could play Neuron and Node, actually. That looks like the play. Well, he'll play Runner, rather. Yeah, I didn't see that hook at first. So yeah, Josh is going to play Runner. Hopefully getting this game over quickly. As it is a blowout, there is not much to see. Not much here on this board for Jackson. This keeps happening in these games. The board just dies, and there's so few spots you can even use. So he's just going to play Yay. Josh is looking for a play that slots E and a W, because EYEN is a word. So he might just play EW and leave Alloy as a decent leave. So he's just going over his options. Yeah, the players are keeping score and keeping track. We just have the Quackle up here for viewership purposes. Jackson getting a good taste of that pen. So yeah, this is pretty decent play actually. It blocks potential 8s, starting with those R, U, and N, even though those are hard letters to start with, generally. So Whaley at least plays a little defense, so don't mind it at all. And Jackson plays ICH, leaving GVES. Looks like that was pretty straightforward. I guess he could have played Wig, but as I said, it doesn't really matter now. Josh has outgone, outgone, but it does not play anywhere. Again, so he's gonna play the fancy Kangoo. Wait, what? Oh yeah, he is. Okay, he was just counting to make sure he didn't empty the bag. And Jackson drew pretty well, so now he has a chance to maybe bingo. He's gonna fish that V. Oh wait, that's a G. I'm sorry. So yeah. Nonetheless, you gotta try something. Josh has toddies on his rack, which is a word that was added, I believe, a few updates ago, 2015 maybe. Someone in the comments might know. But yeah, toddies nonetheless doesn't play. No bingos are going to play on this board, pretty much. He would have stiletto through the L, but it doesn't fit. If we were playing clabbers, then it would fit. Clabbers is the variant of Scrabble where you play all your letters just as if they were, but you can scramble them as long as they create anagrams. So this is a spot, of course, where Josh is going to win no matter what he does. He could pass the rest of the game and win, but he's trying to figure out, do I want to fish? What do I want to do? There's really not much to do since there's nowhere to score. You might as well just fish, honestly, but we'll see what he ends up doing. As you guys can see, Jackson drew an E to his already double E rack, so he is not going to bingo, it looks like. Maybe that's a French word. I don't know. He's just trying to be funny. So yeah, like I said, yeah, Josh might as well just fish because it doesn't matter. So that's exactly what he did. He looked at the pool and said, there's some tiles I could draw. That would give me a bingo. And Jackson says, I'm going to fish too. Josh looks like he drew a G, so that didn't exactly work out for him, but it's okay. And the bag is empty, so Jackson has re-images through the R and arrow, so Josh has to block that. And I think he will see it, so. Oh, and he's not going to block it. I guess he's being nice because he knows spread doesn't matter. But if this were closer and that cost him the game, he would be absolutely stunned. And there you have it. He bingoed out. But Josh gets the win. The bag's empty, so Jackson now leads 3-1 in the series. Can Josh stage the comeback, being down 0-3? Stay tuned.
Wait. 263.
280?
Yeah.
283.
Yeah.
360.
So-
76.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It was not a very stressful game. You ready to hop in? When are we taking the break? I mean, we can just do it time-wise. It's not even 11.
No, players can't resign because this is a sanctioned tournament, so resigning in actual tournaments is not a thing. Although I would absolutely support that rule change if it were to be presented. But obviously there's a lot of potential issues with tournaments if you resign with the whole spread thing and exploiting it, yada yada yada. So that's why that'll never happen.
No.
Val?
I was setting up my A.
Oh, that's all. Okay.
I wasn't doing shit. Like, I saw I could draw images with Val. But I guess I was going for it.
I thought,
Nate was going for gaming. What did you say?
Gametes?
Or messages.
Where?
With me and messages. The lane I set up with Nate.
Looks like they're not going to take any break. We're not going to get an update on Noah versus Sid.
Oh, there's a lane there.
So looks like we're just going to start the next round. Or are we? Okay. I spoke too soon.
We were with it until oh, well, I mean, we can check, but like 487 and 506. Yeah. That was a good game. I mean, I had a chance. If I drew the X right after bingoing, then you would have been in trouble.
What's the score with you guys?
He's up 3-0.
I actually passed up the bingo on 6.
That's yeah, what is your series record?
I'm up 3-1.
You're up 3-1. Yeah.
It's rough here. I didn't like it. Now it's fine.
Rumbly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Of course, I knew Rumbly was a book, but like I just hadn't seen that. But I did. Well,
Should I open the window?
Sure.
Rumbly.
The board looks correct, so Josh has 1 win.
Huh?
You all
Close the door?
Yeah, true. Okay, you are first. You serve.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so looks like Josh is first, and oh wow, common theme, opening bingos here. So Josh starting with dieting, easy peasy. Okay, Josh. Oh, that's a Q. I thought for a second he had an A for dialogue. So Jackson has the Q and the U. That's a beautiful thing. But does he have any high-scoring plays? And wow, okay, so looks like Josh is just gonna bingo again. He'll have regalers through the G if that's open, and I don't see how Jackson's blocking that. He'll also have realizer. Is that even good, guys? I don't know. I don't actually know anything, but he's gonna block it, so it doesn't matter.
No, that's not. No.
So he's gonna play liquid there. And yeah, Josh is just gonna bingo back-to-back games. So the tides could be turning for Josh. The tiles are helping him out.
Gotta lose 14.
With what?
14.
Yeah.
It's insane. Thank you. I think only Benji would challenge that.
Yeah.
No.
Does he have? What
Because I played Interactor against him
Oh, I see.
once. ER didn't challenge.
So Jackson has a pretty good rack. He needs an S for stagnate. Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm gonna fix that. You're right, guys. I'm gonna fix the. It's reversed. Sorry about that. Good catch. That was actually really important. Thank you, because I didn't want to redo the whole game if I got deep. I would have just said F it. So yeah, Josh is gonna go ahead and play regalers. And that S is not slotted somewhere where he can play stagnate. But maybe there's a other bingo that I don't see yet. He can play liquidate. Okay, that's actually a really good play. It leaves pretty decently. And I would guess Jackson will see that. He's going to look for bingos, of course, but liquidate is the play. And there it goes, yeah. So yeah, great play by Jackson. Josh does not have a bingo this time, but he has good letters, and he is going to be able to score. Let's see. So yeah, he has a lot of opportunities to overlap with that hotspot that was just created. But he's going to have to think about it because he doesn't want to leave too junky of a leave, which would be rather easy with that FUHH. HEUCH is a word, but I don't see anywhere that it would score a lot. So yeah, let's see if I'm missing something. That's obvious. Wow, look at that. That would be high volatility because it would obviously leave the S hook and the double word score, but it's just a sexy play. Huecheta. You guys can see that on Quackle. Is that the right play, though? I don't think so, considering it scores 40 to something, but you have other good 30-point options that don't create that volatility, so there's just no reason to do that, even if you see it. But would have been even more sick is if he had the S instead of the F, and he could have played the very rare disconnected double 9 to the two different double words. Because most double doubles are just the closest ones, but it's also possible to get the second level of them. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but I think some of you guys are going to understand what I'm saying. Yuck. So Jackson left A, G, and T, which with the floating I in the middle of the board is especially strong, but he drew N and U, so that draw is going to slow him down. See, I love this play by Josh. That's probably the best way to balance and score on this board. So absolutely looks like the right play. Having 3 ends on your rack is always a bad thing, I would say. Unless you have a blank, and maybe you can bingo.
81 to 170.
Yeah.
Alright, so Jackson plays none, and obviously he doesn't have a hook for it, so you might be wondering why he's doing that, but right now he's down, and he's down rather large, so he's going to just have to create this kind of volatility. A, B, C, E, F. We have almost the first 6 letters of the alphabet on his rack. A, B, C, E, F, U, W. So curfew is the right play here. Gets rid of that U and W. Leaves well, scores well. So if he sees curfew, I think that's coming down. That looks like a pretty straightforward play. He could play something in the top left, like face. But that would not work out. He would leave B, U, W. He's not doing that. So I think curfew is really the only thing you can do here. It's imperative to try to get rid of those tiles as soon as you get that UW combo. Yeah, curfew does throw an E out in the middle of the board, but there already is one, which is, yeah, it's harder to use, but overall, it's just the best play because it blocks a lot of bingos through R's and S's too. And maybe even the eye indicting. Also, I just realized maybe Absturge didn't come up in Quackle because Quackle knew he couldn't win if he played that. Maybe that's what it was. Not sure if anyone else in the comments has speculation on that, but that might be it, even though it sounds kind of frivolous. So I guess Josh doesn't see curfew, but maybe I'm wrong. So web is certainly an acceptable play. You know, it blocks a lot of the S plays that would hook none, and it scores pretty well. So I think that's a good play for sure. So if you don't see curfew, I think that's the right play. Now I am wondering, why did he play web and not wob? That I'm not really sure of. Where would the A help on this board? Yeah, I don't really know. I'm sure he had his reason. I've got to figure that out. I mean, the overlap in the A there seems kind of trivial, but oh well. So Jackson plays team, leaving gain, which is a very beautiful leave, an underrated leave, actually. So that's the straight up right play on this board. It scores the most, leaves the best, doesn't block anything. Very straightforward. And Josh played 3 tiles and drew the blanks. That's always nice. He has Facula through the L, but that would open up the triple-triple, but it's not as big of a deal. The F is pretty irrelevant in a triple-triple scenario for the most part, and he has that blank, so... So yeah, he's going to play Fa. That's certainly fine. Doesn't really give back anything, so... I like it. Jackson has... Oh, he drew a second G. Yuck. So it looks like C going won't fit, so he's not going to be able to bingo. This is a really tough spot for Jackson. He's down 100, and this board is starting to collapse on him, so his options are all really just crummy, because, you know, he can't blow up his rack. He really needs to bingo really soon, but... Okay, I really don't like this play. I would probably just play go in the top right, reluctantly, but... I don't know. I mean, both blanks are out, so there's some merit to it. So let's see, does Josh have a bingo that fits? He does not. Scrofula does not fit. So Josh in a pretty good spot here. He's up a bingo, has the blank. Now he just has to figure out how am I going to score and how am I going to bingo next turn. He could play Furor through the R. That's the top play on Quackle. And yeah, looks like that's what he's going to do. Not a whole lot of options here. And what did Jackson draw? Okay, so... Yeah, so it looks like he's going to get down over lies whenever he sees that. I think that's the only bingo available, if I'm not mistaken. Or Volaries, rather. Yeah, that's an interesting decision, actually. So if he plays Volaries through the R and Furor, that throws the S in the triple-triple. Which may actually be what he wants, because he needs another bingo, so... That'll be a nice distraction, even if he can't use that spot to bingo, it'll be a distraction. So I think he actually might play Volaries through the R and Furor. As we can see now, Josh drew pretty well, so he's gonna be able to bingo, and if Jackson were to open that triple-triple, he might actually even have one, but he won't. Jackson's gonna take the lower variance route. And it's just not gonna work out this time. Josh is gonna be able to bingo. So let's see if he has any outstanding options. I actually forgot that. Furor takes a back E, but Polecat, of course, is unnecessary volatility. No need to throw the triple-triple open. But yeah, Furor takes an E. Wow, yeah, I totally forgot about that. That's a hook you don't see every day, of course. The 7-letter alphagram of Furore is anagrams to Ferris, for those that care. So Josh is going to see Escallop, which is also good with 2 L's, I believe. And that's pretty much going to do it. Jackson did not draw too well. He's not going to be able to bingo back, so Josh should be able to cruise control to another victory here, back to back. So Jackson has a few good scoring J plays, but unfortunately the board is just kind of becoming worse and worse, so time is running out for him. And it's going to be... He really needs to try to get rid of the W with the J. And, there we go. I didn't see that until now. So yeah, Jackson's going to just have to hope for the best. But that's absolutely the right play. And Josh drew beautiful rack. He doesn't have a bingo, but he has a Z and good letters, so he's going to have a lot of options here. Let's see if there's anything outstanding. So let's see. He has Zek there. Does Josh see the E-hook for Führer? I don't know. We'll see soon. But that would be ideal, obviously, if he could just play Zek or Zerk there. Okay, so he does see the E-hook. And he goes down. Good job, Josh. So no A for Jackson for cabooses, but... Oh, sorry. There's a challenge going. So I guess he just... it was a desperation challenge, I guess. So Jackson's just going to lose his turn. Whoops. Okay. Surprised at that one. Because, yeah, it's a hard hook to see, but once you see it, it's like you should recall it, because it's a relatively high prob 7. That looks like a V on the end. It's a little pixelating right now. Oh, oops. So Josh is going to play Taj. Not much else here to do. Just going to cruise control on this one. Artery. Wow, that is beautiful. I hope Josh sees that one. That is a style points play. Wow, that's nice. He doesn't need it, but hey, the more the merrier, right? So he didn't see it, but we'll forgive him. That was kind of hard to see. If anyone can tell me what Jackson's last letter is, I'd love that. It's pixelating. Is it an X? I think it's an X. Oh, wow, yeah, it is. And good, yeah, wow. He had excision. So that's just a big slap in the face, but obviously Jackson was screwed either way. So Jackson's just going to fish for 40 points. Always nice. What is Josh's rack? That would be nice to know. Oh, yeah, sorry, he has that. Oh, okay, so he's going to get baby bingo down. Insult to injury here, diaspore. Yeesh. And there's the blank in the bag that Josh is going to get, because Jackson does not have it, as we can see. And, oh wait, I think he has a bingo. Yep, Tonetics, and Jackson's going to see that. I'll put $5 on that one, if anyone wants to take bets. Once again, spread does not matter, but, you know, you just got to play the right play, right? Jackson is rusty, seemingly, so maybe he misses Tonetics, but
Hmm.
wow, I would have lost $5 if anyone bet me.
What?
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of Jackson.
What I have?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
So Josh is winning this game. He is now down 3-2 in the series, so back-to-back wins to get him back into it. Jackson started off hot, won the first three, but there is no quit in Josh Sokol. Yeah, Joel, he did. Unless I'm hallucinating and that his rack is different. So Josh has 530, 500 burger.
We haven't had a good game. I don't think. Yeah. I guess the tournament game is good. Yeah, I think Escalopet is good. ETT. Really? I drew it after Zerkos closed it. It's good in French. Maybe I've checked it. Yeah, it's not. Okay. I haven't played it, but Oh, sorry, I didn't designate the blank.
That's okay. You played Magnitude, right?
Yeah.
Magnitify.
So 53361.
536? Oh, wait. Oh, I got 6 from you. So yeah.
53361.
And for anyone that might care, I'm uploading these Quackle games to cross tables to make them last forever, putting it into the interwebs, into cyberspace, for everyone to see.
We'll learn from the camera.
Round 6 of this match is coming up next. I think we're doing 7 in the morning. Let me double check.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a good name. Huh?
You mind readjusting the...
Yeah, but I'm really bad at that for some reason, but I'll try.
So there are many ways you can adjust. You can move that.
Yeah.
You can slide the tripod
Yeah.
too. And then you can move the camera like a couple of ways.
Yeah.
That looks pretty good right now.
It's not.
That looks pretty good. A little sideways, but whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Are we doing 6 or 7 this AM for him?
I guess, well, we've just done 5. I feel like I'm starting to get hungry, so I want more. And I need something.
All right, so we're actually doing 6 in the morning, and then they're taking their lunch break. So this will be the last game you guys have with me in the morning. So if you like my commentary, then I'm sorry. This is it. Maybe another day I'll do it in the future, but later on we'll have Kenji Matsumoto or Will. I don't even know who's scheduled, but we'll see.
Where are they in their game?
So the event started Friday night, gonna end Monday evening. So that'll be 3.5.
Okay.
Basically.
Where I was last game.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Good one, you said, right?
Huh?
Good one. Have a good one.
Yeah.
For Joey's sake.
Alrighty, we're off to the races. Jackson has an interesting rack, so he has no bingo, and he's going first, so he has a real decision to make. He can maybe play 3 tiles, leaving well. He could play Dot or Todd. These kind of scenarios are not ideal. And these scenarios are kind of a lot different. If he was going second, then he'd have a lot of opportunities to bingo, pending whatever Josh puts on the board, but... So he's going to play...
16.
Okay, I would never do that in a million years. Because for one, you could play Ditto, leaving the A and not the I. But instead he did that, and that's a very not good play. Because it doesn't score enough to justify blowing up your rack, throwing out all those tiles for your opponent to play through. So that's a really bad play by Jackson. And your opening play really matters a lot. So you want to either play short or exchange there, since you don't have anything that scores. So yeah, Jackson gets an F on that one. So Josh has a Jiva. I think that's really the only possible play he can make, because he needs to get rid of the J and the V, and that does everything at once. So I think he's pretty quickly going to play a Jiva. Yeah, and there we go. So the only real decision he had to make was just which side he wanted to play it on, and this one gives back less possibilities, it would seem. All right, well, Jackson, despite my criticism of his play, drew the blank with some chunky consonants, so he's going to score real nicely this turn. Let's see if he has anything exquisite. Hinpwy blank. So yeah, he has Piney or Y. Yeah, he has a few options here. I think Piney is a good idea, because you have a lot of redraws to hit that Y with the WH on the leave. So if you don't bingo, you might be able to hit way, even though, of course, it's going to get blocked a lot, but it's a generally good idea when you make a play. If you literally have like a 2 or 3 tile play, it means that almost no matter what you draw, you're going to be able to use your setup. So it's like an insurance policy if it doesn't get blocked and you draw junk. So yeah, he has Piney lined up. That looks like the best play. I stand corrected, you can't play WHY because WA is not a word. Looks like there's no 5s through the A. So he's just going to have to throw that triple open, but who cares, right? So Jackson's considering Yop now. That's actually a pretty good option. Scores 26. Doesn't open the triple, and it leaves well. So he'll probably, but pretty much no matter what he does, he'll bingo next turn. It's really likely. But yeah, I think Yop gives him the best percentage to bingo next turn. Because if he plays Piney, WY, I mean, WH is a little bit difficult, possibly, depending on what he draws.
Can I check my change for him?
Yeah.
See, he does elect Piney, so can't really blame him. And I don't know what's going on, but they're taking a short intermission, it looks like. Josh doesn't have any bingos, but he's going to pretty easily be able to play Limey, leaving GINR, which is a very good leave. So he's going to play Limey, I would think, pretty quickly. We'll see what he does. No gremlin, just gremlin. Too bad, so sad. So yeah, Josh is going to play Limey. Not a whole lot to consider here. GINR is a really strong leave. One of the few leaves where a G is actually acceptable. Alright, let's see what Jackson has. Okay, so Jackson... Oh, wow! Okay, I never even saw his rack. So he is beautiful downhill. Wow. The look on Josh's face says it all. He's just saying, bleep! Because that's 100-some points. My goodness. 104. Like nothing. Smylie up 100. Now, Josh has a bingo, though, so that's good news. He is coloring for the O. So he's immediately going to be able to respond and get back in the game, but he's going to need a lot more than one bingo to come back. If Josh misses coloring, I'm done. I'm leaving. The only thing he'll think about is just which O to play through. Or which way to slot it through the O. Jackson picked up a nice rack. He has the X, he has the S, he has vowels, so that's nice. I don't see any good spots for the X, but maybe that'll change. Well, no, he's going to bingo, so. So yeah, if Josh takes any more than 30 seconds here, that's kind of a travesty. You need to manage your time. Time is really important. You run out of time, and you need to really think about the end game or pre-end game. That's a disaster situation, because you don't want to just make a play. Just hope for the best. That's usually not a good idea. In this scenario, I mean, maybe he just doesn't see coloring, but, you know, it's pretty straightforward. I think he should play through the second O, so it blows the board more open because he needs to keep it open. Where if he puts the C right next to the O in Dato, that's actually going to close the board a lot more. So it's really a layup, you know. There we go. Okay, so he does make the right play. There we go. But it took way too long, so I'm a little bit annoyed on his behalf. So for here, because Jackson doesn't really have a good spot for the X, he might as well just play Vex up in where downhill is, because that'll just close that bingo line, because the V will kill everything. But maybe he considers a play leaving the X, which is absolutely reasonable, because in a lot of scenarios, you don't need to play the X just to get rid of it. You know, yeah, it's going to be hard to bingo with it, but this isn't a spot where Jackson needs to bingo next turn. You know, he just needs to make the right play. So PAV is Collins only. So if this was Collins, he would have an easy play. He would just play Pav and Vex. But nonetheless, we are not playing Collins, so That is not going to happen. And as you guys can see, Josh has drawn the QU combo, which is always nice, and he's going to have a good spot for it. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I didn't see Vexed. Yeah, that's the right play. Yeah, he has 2 E's. Silly. Okay. Yeah, Josh has QUOD up there where downhill is, and that's going to be pretty straightforward, I think. I think he'll play that pretty quick. He's just kind of looking for other things maybe, but quad scores 40 and leaves pretty well. It's just what he needs right now. So yeah, there it goes. So Jackson has a almost good rack. That G kind of ruined it, but Garrison and Roarings does not fit with that N in coloring, unfortunately, so he's not going to be able to get a bingo down this turn, but Jackson's, not so far ahead to where he's just comfortable. Like, he could easily be down soon, so he needs to really think hard about this. How is he going to balance and score in the best way? And again, this board is closing in like a lot of these games, so options are limited. He doesn't really have anything good. Corgi is certainly an option. At this point, you don't really care about opening or closing the board because you're not up enough to where you're incentivized to sacrifice points to shut things down. OGAM in the top right scores the most, but it leaves 2 R's and an I, which is never good. But he's going to do it anyway because it scores enough. And I actually like this. Yeah, I mean, the points are rather important, and he can just bingo maybe 2 turns if he doesn't draw on this turn. Yeah, like I said, he needs to make the best overall decision, and taking the points is certainly fine here. So Josh has a beautiful rack, no bingos, no extraordinary high-scoring Z plays, but he's still in a position where he has a chance in this one. He's not down too much. See, this is tough because the highest scoring Z play by quite a bit is that SEZ, but it kind of kills your strong rack. So he might do it just out of lack of other options, but you don't really like it because you leave AACN, which doesn't really have any potential next turn. See, unfortunately, this board is just dying quickly, so Josh might just have to do it. AACN isn't that bad as far as, like, yeah, you can do something next turn, but you're not going to bingo. Unless you draw a blank. Or a miracle. Looks like we got the report. Noah is up 4-0 on Sid, so that series could end pretty quickly if Sid doesn't come back in the next few games. We haven't had a sweep yet, of course, but looks like there's a chance that could happen. Would be kind of hard to do. It's hard to beat a good player 6 times in a row, but it's happened. So it's Josh's turn, of course, but looking over at Jackson's rack, he has junk, so he's not going to be able to score any points next turn. But he will at least have an opportunity to balance his rack with that IRR leave. So yeah, he drew an S, so could have been worse. So yeah, that was one of the top options on Quackle, Azan, and I don't hate it at all because Josh realizes that he should probably keep his S. And this play doesn't give back too much, especially since he just played the Z. He's not worried about Zoff or 64. So yeah, it's a good play by Josh. I think Says is fine, but it's certainly close considering the circumstance. So Jackson's up 27, and it's his turn. And it looks like he'll probably just play Clower really quick because he realizes that there's like only, a few options, period. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good option. So he plays Neural. Yeah, that's a good play because he has the S, so he could potentially use that S hook. And obviously we see that Josh has an S as well, but can't use it. He doesn't have much. His rack is pretty junk, especially on this board. His options are pretty much nothing. He could play TEE under coloring for like 10, 11. It looks like an M at the end of Jackson's rack. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, this is the last game before our lunch break, and then these guys will resume later on today. We're ending a little bit earlier tonight because Jackson has plans. So we're doing only 2 sessions today instead of 3, as far as I know. Really tough spot for Josh, You're within reach. You don't feel like you're helpless by any means, but your options are just junk. He could play CE, through the E and Vex. But yeah, you're just not really loving anything. It's more or less arbitrary. Okay, that's an interesting play. He plays Jeer, wants to take the slightly more points than his other options, but it doesn't balance his rack too well. But then again, you know, T-E-E-S-T is really not even that good anyway in comparison to the double T. So yeah, that's fine. I probably wouldn't have done it, but I'm not mad at him. So Jackson would have had a bingo through the L in neural if it was slotted differently. He would have Troyalism, but nonetheless, we're not playing clabbers, so he cannot bingo. And Josh has drawn a bingo. Wow, so he has ecstatic through the C in coloring. And yeah, caddies, is that good? No. Is it? I don't even know. I don't know anything. Alright, Jackson plays MI. Pretty standard. Looks like the best play by quite a bit. Okay, yeah, caddies is good. I'm not hallucinating. So yeah, Josh has two options. He already laid it down. Okay. And Jackson has a bingo. Okay, so he's immediately going to bingo back with coteries. Looks like he's being held. That would be a disaster if Jackson challenged and then his bingo got blocked, but he's not going to challenge. If he challenges, I'm going to scream. Unless you're really sure that that's not good. It's not smart. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So coteries comes down, and Jackson's going to go up. But this thing is far from over. Josh doesn't have a bingo on his rack, but he has beautiful letters, so at the very minimum, he can play H-A-I-K-S, which is going to score 51. And that'll actually give him the lead, barely. So let's see if there's actually anything else. Yeah, so he can play Hakes. That's really the only thing you can play here, because you don't want to burn the S with those other options. You could play Shiksa. And Jackson has drawn the second blank, so that could prove to be crucial. Because Josh, as we see, he's going to score a lot and tie this game up, but... Oh my goodness, he's playing a phony, or is he? Wait, is that good? Yeah, that's not good. So, this is a big deal. So, Jackson is going to have to consider that even if that's not good, he might be incentivized to let it go. So he's going to take a look at the pool. He's going to say, am I going to outrun him? I have the blank. Do I really want to risk losing a turn and risk losing the game? Jackson knows that's no good. I mean, he doesn't know it, obviously, because he didn't instant challenge it, but Jackson knows that it's Boogshaw's, I guess, is what he meant. Or with a Q, rather. Q energy, I guess? I don't know. Like I said, guys, I don't actually know anything, so I'm going to need you guys in the comments to fix this word knowledge thing. But Josh should have seen Hakes, so I don't really see why he would play this so fast. It is more points than Hakes, of course, but it wasn't like an absolute necessity for him to phony to win this game. So I don't really see why he did that, but maybe we'll get some info on that later. So seemingly it's been accepted because Josh is drawing, so he gets away with this one. So yeah, I mean, it is a good amount more points, so Jackson now is going to just fish, I think. You can't exactly outrun him all the time if he just blows up his rack. Josh kind of drew junk, so we'll see how this unfolds. This is going to be an interesting finish to this game. Both players have a decent amount of time on their racks, on their clock still, so one of these pre-endgame plays, they're going to really tank. So yeah, Jackson makes the standard fish play, perfect play. Not much else to think about here. That's the best scoring, best leaving play. Okay, so Yipe is the play. Josh can't block everything at once, so he's just going to have to be happy that Yipe scores 33 and blocks some things. But unfortunately, he's really worried about that blank. And as we can see now, Jackson would have rarefied through the eye, and Yipe would actually block that and seemingly prevent him from bingoing with anything else. Because I don't think he has a 7-letter word in that rack. If someone could corroborate that, that would be nice. But Yipe is going to be the play to make. Not just because we can see Jackson's letters, but that's just the play. He could play YE, taking out that A, but that just doesn't make any sense because you can score more there. So yeah, he's going to do that. And Josh has a chance to win this game. Yiper is not good, so he cannot play Yiper and Rarefied. So if I'm Jackson here, I'm looking at FA for 28. It gives me a slight lead. And you hate leaving that double R again, but there are 4 E's out in the pool from his standpoint. So even though we know Josh has at least 2 of them, you're just going to have to do FA. I mean, there's just nowhere to score. There's really nowhere for him to just play something. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. I see a play. Play Frit through the IT and Yipe. Because I believe that takes a front A, and now Jackson will have 2 bingo spots, and he'll be nearly guaranteed to hit it. So, of course, if Josh has bingos, then he's just going to lose either way. So, Jackson, absolutely the right play is to play Frit. Assuming those are actually words. Frit and a Frit. Yeah, okay, that's a word. So, Jackson in that scenario would leave ADIR blank. And with that pool, that's going to work out, I think. So he's going to think. I think he's going to find that because he knows that he doesn't want to just play Fa and move on. He needs to really think about his options. And Frit is literally the perfect setup play because he has the A. Let's see how many A's are in the pool. So there's one unseen A. So you're not super worried about it. And even if he does use it, he's still going to have that other bingo line at the bottom of the board. So yeah, I'm really in love with that play, and I would be really sad if he misses it. There's 8 tiles in the bag, so we're entering pre-endgame territory. Yuck. So Jackson still has a good chance after that, but that's a little disappointing. All right, Jackson takes the lead. Josh has junk. He has the French word, I guess, boeuf, I guess. But not a whole lot of options. Okay, so yeah, Jackson now has a bingo, but Josh most likely is blocking it. Oh, you know what? If he plays beef... Oh, yeah, wait. Yeah, that'll fit. He'll have retired. But if he plays boof, or however you pronounce that, that looks like it wouldn't give it to him. This is a really tough spot for Josh. So he's going to probably use most of his time here. Under 3 minutes left. Yeah, so that might be a game-winning play, considering Jackson doesn't have scoring letters. That could work out, but Jackson is going to score this turn, of course, and he's going to be ahead, but depending on how the draw goes, one or the other may or may not be able to outrun the other in the endgame, so... Josh is at 13. Jackson has no bingos. Josh drew very well. He drew an S, and now he's a balance rack. So there's a really decent chance Josh is going to squeak this out. So from Jackson's perspective, there's one in the bag, so that makes it a bit easier to permute. There's an E in the bag, little does he know. But Jackson's figuring, I'm going to play Tard, and I'm going to try to go out first, and I'm not going to bother doing the math and running it out, but I think he actually might win just by going out first. So we'll see. He's going to use all of his time here for sure. Because once he gets to the next play, it'll be straightforward. He'll just be able to slap it down. No one will have to think about it. Now, considering we know the E is in the bag, and if he plays Tard, he's going to have EI, so he's going to have the T and caddies to go out for tie, and then he's going to also have the L and coloring for lie. So he'll have a guaranteed out spot, but does Josh have points? Can he score points? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and run. I'm curious. I lied. I'm just going to do it. So he plays Tard. Okay, yeah, so Josh has wins. That he'll see, of course. So yeah, this is unfortunate for Jackson. He let the phony go, and then Fa was a mistake in my opinion. So he probably blew this game in one way or the other. But then again, these are tough spots, so it's not easy, Playing top-level Scrabble is not easy. So yeah, if Josh holds up, that'll be his third straight win. And this series is tied up at 3-3. The break won't be too long. I think it'll be like an hour. I can't swear to it, but generally their breaks during the event so far have just been pretty short. This is a group of 4 vegetarian guys, so they're all like eating together and stuff, so it's pretty simple. They're not like going out to eat lunch or nothing. Yeah, Joel, it's A. I'll just type it, sorry. So yeah, Jackson's running out of time. Minutes left. Looks like he's probably realizing that he doesn't have enough points to win this game. Yeah, there must be a correlation with Scrabble players and veganism. Alright, so Jackson elects to take a different route. He probably realized that Tard doesn't win, so he ran out of time, so he just picked something. Running championship player now. Josh. Wow, hold on a second. So obviously I wasn't going to bother doing it myself, but it looks like Josh has one tie. Now, maybe Quackle is screwed up, but it looks like Jackson made the right play. Because I didn't run championship player when I should have with that one in the bag, but wow. Josh has not much time left, so the tie that is Quackle in Quackle is ranges at 6A. And I think Josh will figure it out. But if Josh does make the incorrect play, it looks like Jackson would actually win. So Jackson has done a beautiful job of making the exactly correct pre-end game play that I didn't consider because I didn't really look. And that's going to give his opponent an opportunity to screw up, which is oftentimes the best thing you can do in these kind of scenarios. Yeah, the correct play is ranges. I'm sort of cheering for the tie because ties are cool. All right, Josh found it. Hold on a second, guys. The play that ties is actually obscure. Jackson really might not know this word because... Oh, okay, sorry, he does see it. Yeah, I honestly might have missed that. But then again, yeah, Tourette's is good. That's the plural of this word. Yeah, I would have probably figured it out. But my goodness, what a game. So they're going to recount because they can't use our stream as verification of the score. But this is a tie. And this series is 3-2-1. Alright, guys. Well, I'm going to go get ready for my day. I will see you guys later. Enjoy the stream. Have a good Sunday.
Discord. Check buckshots. So bad. Put it down. Looked fine before I did.
No good. I thought it was good. That's weird. There's no other Buckshaw?
Like Buckshaw or something?
No. That's weird.
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah. 21. Yeah.
Good game. So spread matters now?
Yeah.
Weird.
I think you guys are fine, but I don't know. Noah destroyed my spread.
No, I mean for our series.
Oh, for our series, yeah, of course.
I probably should have found 10x.
Oof. I shouldn't have let you get reimages. I think it cancels itself out.
Interesting. Fuck. Is Tard a word?
No.
Yeah.
TRD?
RRED.
Oh, Tard, yeah.
Okay. I was considering that. I just wasn't 100% sure, and so, would I have won? Oh, I drew the N. I think I wait, no, I drew the E. Fuck. Yeah, I didn't. I think the E lost card.
Oh, he's already gone. Okay. Yeah, he does that. Okay.